Yes, I think that Britain has lost touch with a realistic narrative of what it is as a country. After the war, we invented this rather benign myth that we were a unique country in geopolitical terms at the center of three circles. Winston Churchill invented it, Harold Macmillan developed it. Three circles: America, the Commonwealth, the former empire, and Europe. And we were unique, and we held the world together, or the free world, as we were the sort of linchpin. And this was quite a beneficial way of retiring from the extraordinary position of empire. Remember, when the word superpower was invented in 1945, it was for America, Russia, and Britain. And that seems a long time ago. And this was all a sort of myth that we invented to take us away from that extraordinary position.
So you talk about an obsession, our obsession with military might and the world stage. Are you suggesting essentially that whatever Britain is after Brexit, we have to just give up those kind of ambitions?
We have to be realistic about what we are, a very complex and interesting and potentially very productive and creative middle-sized country.
But the Marc Francois of this world would say that is defeatist, that is treacherous, that's surrender. I mean, you talk about giving up a seat on the UN Security Council.
I mean, we were given the seat on the Security Council when we were a superpower. It seems extraordinary, really, that we play this game still. And Marc Francois, the chap who wanted to fight the BMW executives on the beaches of Normandy.
He wants to fight a lot of people on the beaches.
And it's all somehow a little bit sad. Why can't we be a middle-ranking, proud country? And I think we can live inside or outside Europe perfectly well. We've got to decide which one we want to do. I think for years we denied the fact that being in Europe was being inside a political project. We tried to pretend it was just about money, it was just about markets, it was just the common market. It says on the top of the Treaty of Rome, it's about the ever closer union of peoples. And we pretended to ourselves that we hadn't really joined. And now there's been a crash because reality has banged into us.
Let me bring you closer to home. What do you make of the Conservative Party this week, the party of Thatcher Major? Is it one you like right now?
Well, I'm part of I joined a Conservative Party in the days of Ian MacLeod and Ted Heath and people of that kind. Harold Macmillan was my first hero. I worked for Thatcher, not always comfortably, but she was a great leader in her way, and I worked for John Major. Now, the Conservative Party without Kenneth Clarke, without Nicholas Soames, without Rory Stewart, is not quite the Conservative Party that I recognise. Now, it will re-emerge the proper Conservative Party if we can get over this frightful Brexit ditch, either decide to stay in, either decide to get out, do something. But this is not a party that I recognise because it's centred on only one issue, namely Brexit.
I mentioned not only are you a leading Conservative, Provost of Eton, you write that it's produced some magnificent Prime Ministers, Gladstone, Salisbury, Macmillan. You don't mention in your list David Cameron.
Well, I think perhaps that's a bit too near to judge. But I think that David Cameron made some ill-judged constitutional shots. I think the Fixed Term Parliament Acts, which now appears to give us a position where we can have a Prime Minister in power or in office, but not in power, not able to do anything at all, really was a mistake. I think actually having a referendum, which is a constitutional referendum, really, about the fundamentals of the country on a first past the post, one vote wins it system, it was pretty mad. Mostly countries that have embedded constitutional matters have a 60-40 or 70-30 majority for such a referendum.
Do people like David Cameron, like Boris Johnsnon, like Jacob Rees-Mogg perhaps make it harder for Eton to defend the kind of people it's turning into, politicians?
Well, I don't think that the range of... I'm quite proud of the range of opinions that the school has produced, from Rory Stewart on one side to Jacob Rees-Mogg on the other. We have an old room in the school where there's a portrait bust of Shelley glaring at the Duke of Wellington. That's been the range of opinions that strange place has produced over the years, and it will go on producing its George Orwells as well as its Jacob Rees-Moggs.
William Waldegrave, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.